You're now watching a clip from the Inspired by show. You can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to head over there, leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it, and follow the show. One of the things I'm curious to know about you, Lizzie, so when people are investing in coaching or in mentoring, they want to know someone and they want to work with someone and go, they've experienced what I've experienced, or if they can do it, I can do it. And most people have to justify that through conversations. Do you find, because of going bold and because of your confidence around that, it actually helps people to see, do you know what, if Lizzie can do it, I can do it too?
I'd like to think so. I hope so, to a certain degree. I mean, I guess what's funny is that it has come full circle because the coaching I do is very career-based. I almost entirely work with kind of business owners and entrepreneurs about being more confident to show up in our businesses and kind of create the success that we're really capable of. And so I think that one of the there's loads of confidence challenges, as we know, when we're kind of doing all of those things. But one of the big ones is kind of fear around visibility. And so if they see kind of me showing up kind of imperfectly perfect and all those other cliches and saying, well, actually, I haven't even put any makeup on apart from draw my eyebrows this morning. So if I can do that and get on and do a live or go to a networking meeting and stand up and give a pitch, then I can show you how to have the confidence to do that as well. So I think that visibility piece is probably a really big one, but hopefully people can see me walking my talk and realise that actually, yeah, they can do that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And let's be honest, like, you don't just walk the talk with coaching sessions. The reason we met was because we're both quite well-known speakers, and you've gone on to do not one but 2 TEDx talks. Like, let's just let that sink in. So how did the TEDx come about, and what was it like for you standing on that red dot, you know, genuinely being the person you wanted to be, stood there, you know, all showing up exactly how you wanted to, no wig, nothing else, like just, this is Lizzie, this is who I am?
Well, TEDx's are like buses. You apply for years and then 2 come along at once. So actually they weren't, one of them wasn't, I didn't end up doing, but I had applied for a number of TEDx's because I just, as a speaker, it's kind of, that's the pinnacle, right? That's the thing for a lot of speakers that you really want to be able to say that you've done. And so I'd applied quite a few times and hadn't really got there. And then towards the end of 2019, within the space of 2 weeks, 2 of them came back to me and said, yes, we've selected you as a speaker. And then 2020 hit, and obviously everything changed. And so we'd been kind of building up to these 2 events, and suddenly we were in lockdown. One of them decided to pull it and to wait until such time we could kind of run it again. And one of them decided to move it to an online event. And so that meant my first TEDx experience was kind of bittersweet because, yes, I could call myself a TEDx speaker, but I'd done it from my living room talking to a laptop screen instead of standing on the red dot. And so it felt like, it was a bit sad, really. So I knew that actually I needed to go again. And so our lovely mutual friend, Danny Wallace, I'd been working with her, and she'd told a few of us about an opportunity she'd seen to apply to speak at TEDx Northwich. And so I took her advice, because she always gives good advice, and was offered that speaker slot, and it was an incredible experience. I mean, one thing I've learned is that not all TEDx's are created equal, and some are better and more professionally organised than others, and this was just such a great experience. I went through a whole speaker training program with them and came out as a much better speaker at the end as a result of the work that they put in with me, and walking onto that stage and standing on the red dot and having friends in the audience cheering for me, and then afterwards kind of having people come up to me and tell me the impact that hearing me speak had had on them, which is like, that's the big thing. Like, when you're a speaker, that's what you do it for, is the knowing that you've really touched someone in some way who's been in that audience. It was a really proud moment, and I really kind of, beyond just the sort of professional recognition of being able to say, hey, I'm Lizi Jackson Barrett, I'm a multiple TEDx speaker. Actually, that's kind of just the surface stuff. What it meant for me was so much more than that. So it's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah, and I could totally understand why. Like, it's so inspiring. And I think I find it amazing, Lizzie, because you've been on such a journey of your own confidence. And let's be honest, like various different things you didn't expect have come up and actually probably challenged that and maybe shaken the foundations. But the fact that you can get on that stage and speak so openly, and I've watched that talk, and I think it's fantastic. And we'll make sure we put it in the notes as well if anybody else wants to have a watch. I'm curious for you, did the confidence stay the same when you were prepping that, or did any of the little voices come back in of who is she and why is she standing there? Why is she bold? You know, did any of that come into your mind as you were getting ready or even on the stage?
No, not by that point. I think in the lead up it did a bit. Ironically, because I had done a TEDx before and was like at work as a professional speaker, and I was pretty much the only one from that cohort of speakers who, I guess, was a speaker. And so I know that some of the other speakers kind of had beyond, I don't say on a pedestal because that's probably saying kind of overstating it, but saw me maybe a slightly different or better and it meant that I felt like I had to show up as I'm here and I'm a speaker and I'm not going to make any mistakes, and actually I wanted the same kind of nurturing and support and hand-holding as everyone else. I mean, luckily they really were a fantastic bunch of people to speak with, which I was very fortunate to have, and it was a very supportive space. But there was a little period, I think at the beginning, when we were getting to know each other, that I don't know if maybe it felt a bit intimidating for them to have someone who was already a TEDxer in the space. I don't know, but I wasn't expecting that to be the thing that knocked me a bit, because I felt like there was this extra pressure for me to be amazing.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that though, because we all put pressure on ourselves in different ways, right? And it can show up in different ways. And I completely relate. And one of the things that I struggle with is I'm a lifelong learner. I love studying. I love learning. I always want to be the most dumbest person in the room. I want to learn from everyone. And I always want to see if I can try and keep my mouth shut and listen. But one of the things that frustrates me is when other people who are the mentors or the coaches are like, oh, Lizzie, you don't need the help. You already got this. Or Chloe, oh, you're already doing really well. I'm like, no, I actually still want to learn. I still want to ask questions. I still want to, because I think it's the perception, isn't it, that people have was Lizzie's got this, you know, and we're going, well, actually, what if I don't?
Yeah.
Or, you know, I always think if they already put you on a pedestal, my words, it's easier to come off. Yeah. You know, the higher the high, the bigger the fall.
Exactly that. And you only reach that pedestal because of all the listening to people and learning and being quiet and making mistakes. And so that part of it all is so important. And as soon as we stop doing that, that's when we kind of fall off the pedestal all by ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.